You need to take action and do something. I've known people who, years after I've left a job, they're still in the same place, complaining about the same things they complained 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, not making any changes. And I always think to myself, why aren't you doing something different? Why are you still doing this and not moving forward? My mom, she is from Italy and she only had like a second grade education. So she knew how to read and write Italian. And she kind of learned on her own how to speak English, how to read English, and sort of write English. She would write it phonetically like it would be in Italian. And she used to tell me all the time, she said, I wish I could write English, because she depended on people in her life, myself, my sister, her friends. She would depend on us to write things for her. But yet she never took any action. So once her kids were all grown, she lived here in Colorado for a time, and she was in her 60s, still young, had a retirement income and plenty of time on her hands. And she would say, I wish I could learn to read English. I wish I could learn to read English. And I said, Mom, the local library has classes 2 nights a week. They're free. You can go and you can learn how to read English. Well, I don't have anybody to, I don't like to drive in the dark. Mom, I've got time in my schedule. I will drive you, be there with you, and take you home. I've got an eye appointment coming up in 3 weeks. I'll do it after that. Mom, what does your eye appointment have to do with learning to read English? So she just never took action on that. And people sometimes do that with things that have happened in their lives, as far as like forgiving. And so for forgiveness, sometimes you just need to take that first step and, first of all, decide you're going to forgive. But then there's other steps that you can take. One thing I highly recommend is counseling. And we talked about this earlier, but think about a counselor that's going to use a Christian approach is going to be much more effective than someone who's going to let you wallow in your unforgiveness and in your feelings. Feelings are good. Don't misunderstand me. I'm a person of deep feelings, but I try not to base my life decisions on the feelings, because feelings can be deceptive. Emotions can be deceptive. And sometimes you need a coach who's going to kick you in the butt and say you need to move forward. But you might seek out counseling. You might go to a support group. You've got to take some kind of action and start doing something. Start reading a book. Start listening to a podcast. Find a podcast that deals with forgiveness or healing from trauma or something like that, and start listening to it. And not just listening and reading, but applying those things that you learned. Another unfortunate thing in my journey, I shared this earlier, is that my mom did not believe in counseling, so she didn't get me help with counseling, and I didn't do that till years later, but I wish I would have done it sooner. But I read so many biographies of people who had been through things similar to me or different than me, but I learned from them some of the ways that they moved forward through that to become better people and to overcome the things from their past and the unforgiveness from their past. So don't be afraid of counseling and seeking that. When I used to teach marching band, they would give us a list of rules when we would march in a parade. And one of them I thought was very applicable to life. And the rule was keep moving forward. You cannot march in a parade and stop and give a show to the people on the sides. You have to keep moving forward towards the end of the parade. And in life, we have to keep moving forward as well. So as long as we kept moving forward, we could do any kind of turns and circles and gymnastics, and the parade organizers would be happy, but we would have to keep moving forward.